The American correctional system. What can be done? I'm Adrian Halverstad, and I am chairman of the criminal justice degree at Berkeley College. And I'd like to explore this question with you in the next few moments. The three C's of the American justice system is known as cops, courts, and correction. Each of these three main C's are strategic to maintaining a civil society. Corrections, in particular, provides various functions to communities. Functions such as the punishment and treatment and oversight of persons who have been convicted of crimes. Citizens should be concerned with their local correctional facilities, how they function, what shape they're in, what programs they offer, because today's inmate will most likely be our neighbor tomorrow or in the very near future. At some point, most of the incarcerated in the United States of America will be released and returned to their home and their community. We need to do our part to assure that that happens well. Recidivism, a big term, hard to pronounce, sometimes hard to spell. It commonly refers to the revolving door of jails and prisons. It's a national crisis that we deal with. As a country, we need to do a better job of helping inmates succeed when being released from prison or jail to lower recidivism rates, or those who return again to prison or jail. We must also provide services during their time of incarceration to assure they leave with the best possible chance of never returning to penal institutions. A prison chaplain of mine used to say that correctional facilities are the devil's perfecting ground. How true that is. If good people aren't engaged in the training and rehabilitation of those who are incarcerated, then they will be left to be mentored and coached and trained by those who are more heinous in crime. And oftentimes, people who could easily have their minds turned towards good and establish healthy patterns of living are never engaged in the right way because good people aren't showing up and bad people are there to influence them. In the field of psychology, we know that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting to get a different result. It's like going over to a light switch and just turning it on and off when the power is not running to it, thinking that if I just keep doing that, eventually the light will come on. Well, there's a different problem that needs to be addressed in order for the light to function. We know that. And the same is true with lowering recidivism, with helping those who are incarcerated return to society in helpful and productive and ways that can benefit us. We must get involved. So the thing that we perhaps need to do different is that very thing, to get involved. We must get involved. Lawbreakers commit crimes against communities, and communities are the ultimate customer and must be encouraged to get involved, to engage in the restoration process of those who are incarcerated. Local communities in particular must address the hurts and the needs of the victims and the hurts and the needs of offenders. With every crime, there's a victim and loved ones associated with that victims and neighbors around who live around that victim. We need to get involved in healing the hurt. Every offender is a hurt person. A famous author once said that hurt people hurt people. And so oftentimes stopping crime is addressing the hurts and the needs of those who have offended. We must get involved. We must make our communities whole, particularly those who have offended our communities. What can we do? Individually, we can reach out to neighbors who have been incarcerated, establish relationship, help them be productive in community in any way that we're able to do. Just being there relationally will go a long way. We can reach out to loved ones of those who have been victimized by crime and provide friendship, encouragement, and support. Oftentimes we don't know how to help those who have been victimized. The way to find out is to move towards them relationally and ask, how can we help you? We can also contact incarcerated neighbors who are currently doing time by mail, phone calls, and such, or visit the correctional facility if that's something that is permitted. We can get involved in that way. Jail can be a lonely place, and a little kindness can go a long way in building future mentoring relationships and communicating the sanctity of life for those who are struggling with shame and self-worth because of incarceration. We need to be involved. Those who have been incarcerated feel shame. Even upon release, there's the emotion of feeling dirty, damaged, and different. How can those who have offended process through that? Well, they probably can't unless we engage them as a community, unless we move towards them and mentor them and coach them through that and help them to see that their life is meaningful, that they can be productive, and that they can play an important role in civil society. It's up to us to engage them and help them through that. Organizationally, we can empower our churches to provide support groups for victims and their families. The families of those incarcerated and those who have been victimized. The church can address those needs. Churches can engage in rehabilitation and reintegration programming and provide religious services to local correctional facilities. That'll go a long way in changing people. The ultimate goal is not to abate crime, but to see lives transformed, to see people whole again. The church is called of God, and it's equipped by the Holy Spirit to do this very thing. Churches can demonstrate appreciation for our public servants working within our correctional facilities. Correctional work is physically and emotionally demanding, and support is needed. So a little kindness and support will go a long way in re-energizing them for this strategic and most important service they provide to our communities and our nation. Finally, we can encourage our local government leaders to collaborate with our justice administrators to identify the needs and to issue a call to action. In most communities, little attention is given to corrections as long as offenders are getting what they deserve. However, historically, we know that retribution and simply putting people in jail or prison does not deter future crime. It does not provide restitution to victims. It does not rehabilitate offenders. It does not make our communities safer. As a great leader once said, all it takes for evil to triumph is for good people to stand by and do nothing. We can't keep doing the same thing over and over again expecting to get a good result when it comes to corrections. The time to engage is now. The time for a call to action is now. Will you join me in helping to make our society a safer place? Will you help me in making people whole by engaging our correctional system?